I am bound to the chronic illness system, and I am wearing the body of an imposter heiress who is disliked by everyone. Everyone loves imposter heiress, who has been carefully cared for by her family for 16 years, and my 3 older brothers are afraid that I will compete for what belongs to imposter heiress. So they sneer at me. My real parents were afraid that my presence would hurt imposter heiress and tried their best to make it up to her. They never considered my feelings. They treated my thirst for love as a threat, as jealousy. Then, I was dying. Then later, my second brother found my diary hidden under my pillow. They broke down. I bound the chronic illness system and crossed over to Vivian, the real millennial who had already been retrieved by the powerful Song family for half a year. On the first day of crossing over, I was splashed with dishes heated. The freshly cooked curry juice flowed from my cheeks to my neck, and the fish eggs rolled down my clothes to the ground. It was fiery hot. I looked expressionlessly at the teenager in front of me. There was not a trace of emotion in his dark eyes. The others were taken aback by his actions. Mrs. Harper exclaimed, "Salutation! What are you doing?" Jason had a somewhat remorseful look on his face, and what came out of his mouth was a rebuke. "It's not because she has a dead face every day. Didn't she hear Mingzhu talking to her?" Amber sniffed and looked guilty. "I'm sorry. I didn't know it was because of me." She looked at me apologetically. "He didn't do it on purpose." Third brother. Is it okay if I apologize to you on his behalf?" Jason was instantly displeased. "Who the hell is she to apologize? Mingzhu, why do you care so much about her?" I tugged my lips lightly. I also wondered what the original owner was in their eyes. Looking at Amber, who was surrounded by her 3 brothers, wearing a clean white dress and dressing up her delicate hair. Instead, my body was yellowed by curry juice, and I could smell the smell of rice even without looking down. Pearl. The jewel of the family. The name wasn't supposed to be hers. I ignored Amber and picked up the only remaining fish egg lying in my lap, mixing it with the juice left on my mouth and swallowing it. It's not the flavor I've had before. I get up to leave. "I'm full. I'll go to my room. Thanks." Turning to meet Mrs. Bennett's worried gaze, I smiled at her. Silence falls over the table for a moment. Mr. Harper. Mrs. Harper doesn't look good. Big brother Alexander said in a deep voice. "Ollie, you did go overboard this time. Wani didn't do anything. The original world of me is dead. Stage 4 gastric cancer. Died at the age of 18. I was killed by the pain. There was no one around me. Except for that fish egg. I haven't eaten anything normal for nearly 3 months. Perhaps the system saw that I was too pitiful and brought me to this world. This body also has stomach cancer. But it's not to the point of being terminally ill. The system said the original girl committed suicide today by taking sleeping pills. Frequent abdominal pain accompanied by hemoptysis let her know that something was wrong with her body. But she was afraid that talking about it would cause trouble for Song's family. Make the family who originally disliked her more disgusted with her. So she chose to leave this world directly. She can be really stupid. The Song family is a big family, with the treatment may not be good. This family is really ironic. Their own daughter had been picked up for half a year without realizing that her body had a disease. Why am I here? A girl with the same illness as me. Orphaned since childhood. She has stomach cancer. Maybe she's luckier than me. She was taken home by her real parents when she was 16. Maybe she's more unfortunate than me. Never having received a single ounce of unreserved love. She went off to become an angel. The system fell silent. My arrival seems to have worsened the botus symptoms. I asked the system as I felt the taste of blood in my throat. The system said, yes. Same as the original you, probably by the age of 18. But if you cooperate with the treatment. I spoke faintly. No cure. Doesn't matter. Anyway. Horizontal or vertical will die. What's more, I don't want to live. In the middle of the night, I was suffering from abdominal pain, and it was difficult to sleep after tossing and turning. It was as if I had returned to the days of my last life. Every night, curled up with my eyes open until dawn. There was nothing in the room. My mouth was dry and I went downstairs in the dark to try to find water to drink. Instead, I met my second brother Ethan in the living room, who was playing professional gaming, so it was normal for him to stay up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Obviously, Ethan noticed me too. He looked at me with an ugly face. Ethan is the most silent person in the Song family. The original owner hadn't seen him look good even after coming home for half a year. I ignored him, afraid that whenever the original owner appeared it made him upset. I went to the kitchen half hunched over, without realizing that Ethan was shocked by my appearance. Under the dim night light in the living room, he could clearly see me sweating in pain, my lips pale, except for my burned cheeks, which were flushed an unnatural red. The rest of my face was frighteningly white. And naturally I didn't care as I was so used to being sick to the point of having an abnormal face. I rested holding onto the sink. And the next second the smell of blood came up and spit it out. Vomit. I choked out tears with difficulty. There was movement at the kitchen door. It was Ethan following me in. I hurriedly turned on the faucet to rinse the blood out of the sink and took a few sips with my hand on the tap water. But then I heard Ethan speak in a deep voice. If you want to drink water, drink warm water. Cold water tends to give you diarrhea. I let out a soft and lowered my head to try and get out around him. Originally, the original owner hadn't said a few words to the second brother. And I was even less inclined to entangle myself with this family. Instead, my wrist was clutched by Ethan. I inclined my head to look at him and mumbled, "Second brother, is something wrong?" The close distance allowed Ethan to see the injury on my face more clearly. He was silent for a moment and wrinkled his eyebrows. "Why don't you take care of the burns on your face?" I looked at the look of seeming impatience on his face. I was only afraid that he thought it was just some trick to get attention. I jerked my wrist out and nodded haphazardly. I'll go back first. Too close for comfort." Ethan turns on the light and wrinkles his nose as he approaches the sink. Though the blood had been washed away. But he still keenly saw the silk red color that was washed away by the water flow and stayed. Early the next morning I went downstairs just to bump into Jason at the stairway. The original owner's third brother is the person who has the greatest hostility towards the original owner. He and Amber are of similar age and have the deepest feelings for each other. Perhaps the teenager is too young, only to know that his sister, who he grew up loving and protecting, has suddenly changed. This newly found person wants to take away everything from Amber. He took out all his grievances on his own sister. He resented her for breaking up their original life. Little did he know that the original owner was the one who was the most innocent. Jason looked at the obvious burns on my face and his eyes flickered. He purposely didn't talk to me, waiting for me to greet him. "Mr. Harper said coldly, you're such a big man. Don't you know how to take care of a little burn? How do you look when you walk out like that?" Mr. Harper is a traditional patriarch. His eyes are more on benefits than family. He was afraid that he would lose face if he went out like this. Besides, the original owner is just a person who has only been picked up for half a year, lacked any notable skills or talents, and her grades are even more unimpressive, with no use at all. Mrs. Harper also has a disapproving look on her face. I laughed coldly. If it had been Amber, I'm afraid she would have been sent to the hospital in the first place. Last night. Not a single person came forward to ask if she had been burned. I've only eaten a little bit of food and am not hungry. I'm sure she's biased to no end. There's no medicine box in the room. It was the Song family's turn to be silent. The Song family villa owner's family's room had everything, of course. But picking up the original owner and letting her own daughter stay in the guest room. The things in the guest room were naturally pathetic. The original owner's bath was also a public bathroom. Mrs. Harper looked at her daughter's face, which was similar to her own, and saw that it was flushed with red. Her heart panicked for a moment. If it were Ming Zhu, the slightest injury would cause the whole family to come and take care of her. But when it comes to me, I don't say a word. Jason said, "If you don't tell me, how do you know it's so serious?" I couldn't help but grovel as a burst of pain started in my upper abdomen. A taste of blood welled up in my throat. I tugged on the strap of my book bag and mumbled, "I'm going to school first." Jason frowned. It seemed to be his illusion that Vivian's posture didn't seem right. The original owner transferred to Jason and Amber's school after she was retrieved. Only Amber didn't want the original owner to be in the same car as her, fearing that she would be found out that she wasn't the Song family's real child. The original owner had always gone to school by herself. In these half a year, because of Amber's hints, there was no shortage of school violence. But this silly girl took it all without saying a word. I'm afraid she knew that no one would care even if she spoke up. Her family wouldn't believe that Amber had signaled her to do it. I had just taken my books out of my desk when I saw the fake cockroach glued to the cover page. The few people waiting to see my joke had already secretly covered the upturned corners of their mouths. It's true that if it was the original owner, he would have held his tongue. But for me, how to deal with these problems has become a family affair. Coming here, I just wanted to wait for death in peace. But to come up on my own, I'm not a soft persimmon to be bullied. I copied the textbook with the cockroach stuck to it and walked towards the girl who had recently watched the show. With one hand, I slapped the textbook into her face. Not waiting for her to scream out, I dumped out all the books in her desk to find the same textbook. The original owner has always been portrayed as quiet and sullen in the class. Today I was wearing a flushed cheek, causing many of my classmates to silently focus on me. Now that I had no presence, I suddenly made such a big commotion. The class was silent. The girl reacted and madly pounced over to grab me. I grabbed her by the hair and said in a cold voice, "I'll let bygones be bygones. Don't mess with me in the future." Saying that, I shook her off and went back to slump in my seat. Not only was my stomach sore, but I was also vaguely nauseous and wanted to vomit. The girl did not let up and raised her hand with the intention of slapping me in the face. Suddenly her wrist was caught by Liam at the back table. His unruly face sank down. "Shut up." The girls were silenced when they saw that it was Liam, who was recognized as the school's bully. His family was powerful and no one dared to mess with him. She went back to her seat and exchanged glances with the rest of the people who were watching the show. A few of them burst into knowing smiles. I couldn't straighten up from the pain. A cold sweat broke out on my forehead, and I bit my lip for dear life to hold back the nausea. I couldn't loosen my frown from the pain. This wasn't right. It shouldn't have gotten to this point so quickly. This is already in the middle to late stages. The next moment, my entire body was lifted up in the air. The harsh sound of a stool dragging the floor caused the entire class to turn around and look. I struggled to get out of Liam's arms, but without much strength I was instead tightly hooped. The teenager was tall and thin, and seemed to have an endless supply of energy. "Don't move." He seems to have seen me like this for the first time. "I thought you, a quail girl, would only hold your tongue." It's true that a rabbit will bite when it's anxious. Along the way, Liam sighed softly. "How could you be so light? Before reaching the infirmary, Jason rushed up with a few arrow steps and blocked the way. Jason's anger surged up and his voice was cold and sarcastic. Vivian, you're not a team player. It's almost time for class and you're still out on a date with a man. I'm sure you're not educated. You're no better than Mingzhu. My heart suddenly stung for a moment. Feelings that don't belong to me densely occupied my entire chest cavity. It is again like this, without asking the reason, and accusing at the first time. I hurt more. The taste of blood rushed to my mouth. Tears seeped out of my eyes, and I hurriedly buried my head, not recognizing that the tears belonged to me. Through the thin summer shirt, Liam seemed to feel the hot teardrops, and overwhelm was written all over his face. He was already grumpy and said with an impatient look, "Who are you? Can't you see she's not feeling well? Come up here and scold her. If you have a disease, cure it. What are you mad about here?" He was trying to peel off my face, but when he looked down, it was a blinding red. "Don't scare me. The infirmary will be here soon." Even if it was only for a moment, I saw Jason's eyes sweeping towards me. He must have seen the blood at the corner of my mouth. Panic instantly crossed his face. He tried to follow, but was pulled back by Amber behind him. "San, why don't you wait for me, running so fast?" Jason twisted his head to look at her unhappy demeanor, suppressed the uneasiness in his heart, and stayed where he was. I was getting more and more sickened by Liam's upside down. I pushed against him and spoke with difficulty. "Want to throw up?" All Liam heard was me buzzing twice. "What did you say?" Before he could ask a question, I had already thrown up with a crash. I hadn't eaten anything in the morning, so the only thing I threw up was acid mixed with blood in my stomach. I did my best to avoid it, but it still got on Liam's shirt. I pinched his shirt and apologized weakly. And Liam's face darkened even more as he put me down on the hospital bed and let the school nurse take care of me. He silently took a mop and rag out to clean up my vomit. The school nurse slathered my face with medicine and hung a bottle of glucose. "Little girl, why are you vomiting blood here? Any medical history?" The school doctor told me to go to the hospital for a proper checkup for peace of mind. I thanked him and explained that it was just because I hadn't eaten breakfast. I was already aware of the condition of this body without having to be examined. I asked the system in my mind why it was like this. The system's mechanical voice sounded silently. Because the original owner's consciousness is dissipating faster, it means she wants to leave this world quickly, right? The system was silent. I pulled my lips in realization. Wani. Bingy. The little girl's name was given by Grandma Rose. When Grandma Rose picked up the little girl who was still in her swaddling clothes, she froze in the freezing weather and her body turned purple. Grandma Rose thought that the original owner had been frozen to death, but did not realize that the little finger could still move. Grandma Rose picked up the original owner and named the little girl Wani. Grandma Rose believed in fate. She said, retaining her is the will of God, but also the wish of Grandma Rose. Raised to the age of 5, Grandma Rose died. The original owner was sent to a group home by a neighbor, later taken back by the Song family, who wanted to change Wani's name. But she was dead set against it. It was the only thing left to her by her grandmother. Now, Wani does not want to follow the will of God, to go to the only love her Grandma Rose. Maybe it hurts, or maybe it's because of the little girl. My eyes were moist and I stared at the ceiling. The same people at the end of the world do not have to know each other. This moment, I wanted to hold the one in my soul, her, tightly. I realized Liam was still there and wiped my eyes carelessly, pursing my lips. "Thank you for sending me here. In my last life, I faced too much malice and was always alone. Now that I'm facing Liam who helped me, I'm a bit overwhelmed." And just spit on him. Liam raised his eyebrows. Then in return, how about helping me bring breakfast in the future? I was a little hesitant. I don't want to have too many interactions with anyone. Liam looked at the whitewashed canvas shoes on my feet and hurriedly added, Master's meal card for you. Why? Your thanks won't just be lip service, will it? I had no choice but to nod my head in agreement with him. I'm going to go to the hospital after school. The condition of my body is only getting worse. I need to get a prescription for some painkillers. The original owner had a card in her hand that was compensated to her by Alexander, the heir to the Song family, when Wani first came back. If ordinary painkillers didn't work, I wouldn't even want to go to the hospital. Hospital Gastrointestinal Surgery Department. Dr. Lou is very young, probably looking at the patient as a little sister. He gently asked me where I was uncomfortable. At that moment, I actually wanted to cry. This kind of concern is something that I have never had in 2 lifetimes. I smiled at him. Please, prescribe me some morphine. The doctor froze. He couldn't believe his ears. The little girl in front of me was only at school age. Yet she asked him to prescribe morphine. I continued. If that's not possible, OxyContin, fentanyl, whatever you want. Lu Ming choked, a look of reproach. What kind of disease does the little girl have? Have you been examined? You can't just take any medicine. I have stomach cancer. In the middle stage, I replied lightly and seriously. His expression instantly froze, and he even became a bit agitated. How can that be? How old are you? Which hospital? Which quack doctor diagnosed you? Believe it or not, I'll report him. The doctor's expression was a bit amusing, and I couldn't help but laugh out loud. I've already checked it out, but it's just that the pain has been getting worse lately. So can you please prescribe me some painkillers? Lu Ming looked at the little girl's expression that didn't look like she was faking. His heart sank. Does your family know? You're so young. Why don't you fight for treatment? I sighed. That was one of the reasons I didn't want to come to the hospital. I had to sell it. My family knows, but they don't have any money, and there are a few older brothers above them, so they won't be treated. Lu Ming was about to say something, but in the end he didn't say anything. I took the medicine and left the hospital, but did not know Liam followed all the way. Liam hid behind the door, body a little cold. After school, Liam watched the little girl staggering out of the school gate, worried that she fainted halfway. At least it was the friendship of copying homework for half a year, so he followed the ghost. Without realizing it, he followed her to the hospital. Originally he was already planning to leave. A strong emotion stopped him in his tracks. Instead, he ended up hearing that the little girl had stomach cancer. No wonder. She coughed up blood. Liam had some bad feelings in his heart and even wanted to slap himself. He bullied the little girl for half a year. He was not a human being. In addition to this, it is a dense heartache. I went home and simply packed a few clothes, ready to go to the school to live. It turned out that my things had been moved. Mrs. Bennett said, Wan, Madam has changed the room for you. It's on the same floor as Mingzhu, the one on the far east side. Saying that it's for you and Mingzhu to cultivate their relationship. Mrs. Bennett looked at me painfully. The Song family's heart is really biased to no end. Almost the whole 3rd floor is Amber's, but they gave me the easternmost room. Heh. I felt ridiculous for the little girl. Is this arrangement meant to warn me that my status in this family will never be as good as Amber's? But it doesn't matter anymore. I was going to move to school anyway, and in a little more than 6 months at the most, I'd be out of this world. Day after day the pain tells me that the little girl's desire to be out of this family, out of this world, was overwhelming. At the dinner table, I explained to Mr. Mrs. Harper that I was going to live at school. The family, which was still talking and laughing, instantly quieted down. Mrs. Harper frowned. Why do you want to go to live in school when you're fine? You don't like the room that Mom arranged today. Suddenly she remembered Mrs. Bennet telling her this morning. The difference between Wan-Yi's room and Mingzhu's room is a bit big. I'm afraid Wan-Yi will think too much about it. Then she realized again, thinking only that Vivian and Mrs. Bennet had complained about something, and said with some impatience. Don't be so jealous. Mingzhu's room has been occupied for 16 years. You've only moved here a short time ago. Don't compare everything to Mingzhu. If you really want it, well, have a decorator come and refurbish your room. Mr. Harper's face was even worse. You're not as good as Mingzhu. If people know that I let my daughter go to school, it'll be a joke to them. Jason remembered the boy who hugged her today. Suddenly upset and a little tongue-tied. It couldn't be for the convenience of having a fling with random guy, right? The afterglow glanced at Vivian and realized she had her head down and didn't say a word. TSK. Jason wanted to slap himself. That wasn't the point he was trying to make. Amber hid the upturned corner of her mouth. Vivian was so stupid she didn't even bother dealing with her. She'd make a fool of herself. Ethan's eyes darkened as he watched Amber's teasingly smug expression. He wanted to say something about whether Mom and Dad were being overly paranoid about their biological sister. In the end, he didn't know how to say it. I felt a sharp pain coming from my chest. The little girl was never compared to Amber. She just wanted more attention from her family. Even if the attention she got was only a tenth of what Amber got, she would be quietly happy for a long time. So long that the thought of it was all smiles as she fell asleep at night. She would write down every little thing with her family in a book. Every time she was upset she would turn it over and sneer again. But it was so hard for her to crave it. I let the original owner's emotions lash out at my body as tears rolled down my face one by one. With a choked, hoarse voice. If you didn't accept me from the beginning, why did you pick me up? Am I jealous? My real parents shushed a fake in front of me. The slightest bump couldn't be tolerated, and my own brother threw such hot food in my face without a care or an apology. My father was even afraid that my appearance would embarrass the Song family if I went out. But have you ever recognized me for who I am? Who knows I'm a child of the Song family? I'm just a kid who lives like a shadow in the gutter, letting people call me an orphan at school. So you don't have to worry about the harm it'll do to the Song family's reputation. Why don't we just pretend that I never came back? I'm a dying man anyway. I'm afraid they won't care even if I die. Right? Why? To give birth to me. After that night, I still packed up and stayed at the school. She seemed to have disappeared after being taken over by the little girl's consciousness. And I hadn't felt any emotions belonging to her in recent times. I started bringing Liam breakfast every day. But he would split that breakfast in half and make me eat it too. He would also pull small desserts out of his desk belly and give them to me between classes. Beautifully described as a thank you gift for me. This day I again stuffed his breakfast with the little dessert in the belly of the table and left it untouched all morning. With mid to late stage stomach cancer, I had no appetite and didn't even feel hungry. If it wasn't for Liam, I wouldn't even think about eating. At noon after school the classroom was all gone. Those who ate. Those who went home. I fished my painkillers out of my desk belly and swallowed them with my water. Suddenly there was a harsh sound of a stool clattering the floor from behind me. I startled for a moment. I had been thinking that the classroom was empty, but I didn't realize that Liam hadn't left yet. Liam looked at the girl's figure that was getting thinner and thinner these days, staring at me with a sullen face. Vivian. I already know. He grabbed my shoulders with both hands and said seriously, I know you've got it. I sighed softly. No wonder I've been so erratic lately. I've stopped copying my homework. Liam frowned at the girl's seemingly unconcerned demeanor. Go for treatment. I'll give you money. After saying that, he was afraid that the girl would misunderstand, and hurriedly added. Even if it's borrowed from you, when you get well, you can help me with my tuition. It's like paying back the money. A warm current welled up in my heart. Silly or not, I'm healthist myself. They'll find someone else to help me with my lessons. Liam was furious. I want you to be cured. Do you know that? I smiled at him and said softly, I know. Thanks. But no thanks. I can't be cured anymore. Besides, no one cares. Liam blurted out, looking at the girl's slightly lost look. I care. He coughed lightly at my surprised look. Besides, how do you know you can't cure it when you haven't even cured it? You know what I mean. I snorted with laughter, and it was the first time Liam had ever seen such a vivid expression on a girl's face. Her thin, white cheeks reveal 2 dimples when she smiles. He couldn't help but freeze, and a blush flew across his face. I don't know since when, being around Liam makes me feel relaxed. Maybe it was because, for the first time, I felt what it was like to be cared for from him. I stopped talking to him. The last period of the afternoon was gym class. It was just time for me to organize my equipment, and when it was over I put my racket back in the equipment room. When I was about to leave, the door was suddenly closed from outside. And I couldn't open it even though I tried my best to twist it. After a long time, a voice came from outside. Vivian, I let you get away with it last time. This time, just stay inside. I sank my face and listened to the sound of footsteps leaving in a hurry. They were expecting the equipment room to be in a remote location, plus no one would come after school was over. That's why they were so rampant. It's not like I've never been locked up in an isolation room before. I tried to find a wire to pick the lock. But I realized that the door was not unlocked with a key from the outside, but with a lock on the outside. How could they have gotten the key to the equipment room? I frowned and tapped on the door vigorously and shouted a few times, but there was not a single movement. It was getting darker, and the claustrophobic environment of the smaller equipment room was starting to make me shiver. It was only then that I turned over in my memory that the original owner had once been locked up in the women's restroom for a day and a night. It was not long after she had returned to the Song family and disappeared for a whole night without a single person realizing it. The Song family ate dinner peacefully. It was as if the person had never appeared. This made Amber even more rampant. She kept hinting to the people around her to start bullying Vivian secretly. The little girl thought she had found a new life when she went home, but she didn't expect it to be the beginning of another nightmare. No wonder my body reacted the way it did. My upper abdomen began to convulse and vomit. The pain made me curl up on the floor. Liam waited in the classroom for the little girl to come back. She hadn't eaten all day today and he had to forcefully take someone to the cafeteria. He had looked up a lot of information after learning she had stomach cancer. Food was a source of nutrients to take in and build up resistance. It couldn't be skipped. More than half an hour had passed. The classroom was empty but still not waiting for the little girl. The bad feeling in Liam's heart was getting stronger and stronger. He was afraid that the girl had fainted somewhere. Liam began to keep looking for someone, envisioning all the places where the girl might have gone. He ran to the women's restroom and called out the girl's name from floor to floor in front of the restroom door. Jason was just about to go back when he happened to hear someone calling out Vivian's name. He squinted his eyes. It was the same boy who hugged Vivian last time. What do you want with Vivian? Liam saw at first glance that it was the psycho guy who stopped him last time. He was supposed to be in a hurry right now and disliked him at the drop of a hat. What's it to you? Who are you to hurry you? Jason choked. He was going to explain that he was her third brother. He was worried that if word got out it would not be good for Pearl. so he could only mumble his lips and could not say anything for a while. Liam rolled his eyes and was about to walk away. Jason pulled him back and was worried. What's wrong with her? Liam didn't want to talk nonsense with him. After gym class, she disappeared, and she's still not feeling well. He slapped his head and cursed himself for being stupid. It seems to be my turn to organize the equipment this time. He rushed to the equipment room. Jason was uneasy and followed him. Sure enough, the equipment room was locked from the outside, and Liam tapped on the door and yelled, "Vivian!" Liam tapped on the door and yelled, "Vivian, are you in there?" But I couldn't hear a single sound from inside. Liam was more and more sure that it was the little girl and rushed to the security room to get a chainsaw to cut the chain. When he opened the door, he saw the girl lying curled up in the corner. He rushed up to help the girl. Her face was pale, her forehead was full of cold sweat. Even her beard looked weaker and weaker. Jason, who followed in behind, was startled. The two rushed the person to the hospital emergency room. The two waited anxiously outside. Half an hour later the doctor pushed the door out and asked, "Is there anyone who is a family member of the patient inside?" At this moment in the hospital, Jason could not care less. Hurriedly said, "I am her brother." The doctor stared at the boy in front of him. The patient is now stage 4 gastric cancer. Basically, there is no possibility of cure. How are you family members? The little girl got gastric cancer at a young age. Where are your parents? Boom, Liam only felt chills all over his body. He grabbed the doctor by the collar and roared. How can that be? Who are you kidding? Jason took 2 steps back and kept shaking his head as it was clear that the test was still mid-stage not too long ago. His eyes went round again. And suddenly it dawned on him. I know. Did Vivian tell you to say that? To get sympathy, right? She's been doing this kind of thing for a long time. Get out of the way. I'd like to see how long she's going to pretend this time. They'll see how long she's going to pretend this time, he said, waving away the doctor and rushing over to open the door. The girl was lying quietly on the hospital bed, wearing a ventilator, her face pale. Jason's legs were weak. His mind was blank. It can't be. It can't be. Liam swung Jason to the ground with a single punch. He grabbed the man off the ground. Bruises popping up on his arms with the force. What kind of brother are you to her? Why don't you let her heal? You dress so well. Do you know that she comes to the hospital alone to buy painkillers? Do you know she doesn't eat and waits to die alone? Jason was breathing heavily, staring blankly at the ceiling. It seemed that at this time, the bond of blood was especially strong. The person lying motionless inside is his own sister. His own sister is going to die. He hadn't had time to love her and spoil her. Even after her return never properly responded to the brother she called. He began to remember what it was like when his sister used to call her third brother. Soft, timid, not daring to look up at him. And what was his reaction like? He seemed to be very disgusted. Disgusted that she was squirmy and petty, no better than Mingsu. And now, will he ever hear it again? Liam began a thorough investigation into who was keeping the little girl in the equipment room. It was easy to find the girls from before. Bringing out evidence of the school bullying the girl had suffered for most of her life, Liam flipped through the videos and couldn't bear to watch anymore. He had always thought that it was just the classmates who occasionally bullied her for being honest and weak. But he couldn't have imagined that the girl had suffered 100 times more in the dark. How on earth did she get by? Liam questioned Jason, pointing to his cell phone. She's been bullied all the time since she transferred here. Do you know that? She's got injuries every day. Have you been paying attention? She's not in the right mood. Do you even care? What kind of a brother are you? What kind of brother doesn't know anything about his sister's situation? As he said that, he couldn't help but shed tears. He didn't know why he was like this. Obviously he had only copied the little girl's homework for half a year. Why did his heart hurt uncontrollably? He was not qualified to scold those who had bullied her at all. Because in an invisible way. He also became the executioner. Jason masochistically watched the videos one by one, until he saw a few girls holding Vivian down in the toilet sink, flushing her face with the faucet over and over again in the cramped space. A gnashing of teeth came from the video. Vivian, why did you come back? Why did you come back to take away everything from me? Don't worry. So what if you're the Song family's biological daughter? Mom, Dad and my brothers only love me. Just wait. Everything in the Song family is mine. You'd better act like a gutter rat. Or else. I have ways to kick you out of the Song family. Snapped. Jason's hand holding the cell phone trembled, and the phone fell to the ground. How could it be Mingzhu's voice? There was never a mistake. It was Mingzhu. It was he who had loved and spoiled her for 16 years. From kindergarten to high school, every year holding her hand to send her to the door of the class. From childhood to protect the sister. For her sake even alienated his own sister. At the risk of hurting his own sister, Jason walked home lost in thought. In the living room sat Mrs. Harper and Song ergo, Mr. Harper was away on a business trip. His tears dripped to the floor. Mrs. Harper was shocked and hurriedly got up to ask her son, Ollie, what's wrong with you? Jason kept shaking his head. The teenager looked like a helpless child. Mom, my sister got sick. What should I do? Mrs. Harper instantly turned pale and grabbed Jason with a death grip. What did you say? Mingzhu, what happened to my pearl? Jason's heart stuttered and went numb. It was at this time that he thoroughly felt how badly his sister had been neglected in the house. Why was Amber the first reaction? Did Wani carry so little weight in their hearts? He froze and opened his mouth. It's my sister. My own sister. My own sister is sick. Stage 4 gastric cancer. Doctors say it can't be saved. Mom. What should I do? My sister can't be saved. Mrs. Harper took 2 steps back and sat down on the sofa. The doctor said she couldn't be saved. Her sister. No. It can't be. Ethan's grip on his cell phone tightened abruptly. So that was it. Last time. He hadn't been wrong. His sister vomited blood. He clenched his teeth, his bones white. Why didn't he follow up last time? Liam said his sister didn't have the money for treatment. How could she not have the money? Jason shook Mrs. Harper's body, incredulously pursuing the question. Mom. Didn't you give money to your sister? How could she not have any money? Amber's allowance is $100,000 every month. Mrs. Harper murmured. When she first came back, you gave her a card. Pearl said that she hadn't had such a luxurious life since she was a child, and that she'd learn the hard way if she was given that much all at once. So your father and I didn't give it to her, right? Aw, you did. I'll call him and ask him how much he gave. Mrs. Harper hurriedly pulled out her cell phone, dialed Alexander's number and asked him. $100,000. Alexander said in a deep voice. Mrs. Harper trembled her lips. Why did you give so little? Did she spend it? Did she run out of money? Did she ask you for money? Did you give it to her? Why didn't you give it to her? Why didn't you give it to her? Mrs. Harper started talking to herself and Alexander frowned, not sure what was going on. Mom, calm down. I'll ask the assistant. He called the assistant to check the secondary card given to Vivian. The assistant said the sub-card only cost a few $100s and the purchase was made at the City One hospital. Outside the sound everyone heard, Jason held his head and squatted on the ground. Only spent a few $100s. Liam said that his sister secretly ran to buy painkillers. Only bought painkillers. Does she not want to live at all? She doesn't want treatment. It must be because we treat her so bad. She wants to leave us. He slapped himself. Why? Why were you so bad to her? Ethan didn't play the game live all night. He went to the living room in the dark and sat down, recalling the last time he saw his sister here. That time she was bowled over and pale. And he just watched faintly as his sister walked past him. Ethan went to the guest room where his sister stayed when she came back. It was his first time in his sister's room. The furnishings were simple, just a bed, a table, and a closet. He sat on the edge of the bed in silence, holding the pillow his sister had slept on in his arms. His eyes watered. My sister was very small when she was first picked up. Quiet and quiet, always keeping her head down. She wasn't as lively as Mingzhu, who would pester him at all times. And he was not very talkative either, not knowing how to get along with his sister. Probably many times, he scared her. Suddenly he felt something hard inside his pillow. Ethan unwrapped the pillowcase and fished out a worn and yellowed book from inside. On the first page were 2 lines written in childish strokes. June 10th, 2013. Grandma Rose left today. And Wanwan became a child no one wanted. Grandma Rose bought Wanwan a very beautiful diary and hid it for a long time before bringing it to me today. She said she was going to heaven as an angel and asked Wanwan to take good care of herself. Grandma Rose said that the diary would be Grandma Rose's companion from now on. The diary is Grandma Rose's diary. Grandma Rose said that she would keep the diary with me from now on, and that the diary was Grandma Rose. July 1st, 2013. Today Wanwan was sent to group home. The bunny knitted by Grandma Rose for Wanwan was robbed. May 30th, 2014. Today is Wanwan's birthday. Grandma Rose said that on this day 6 years ago God didn't want to take Wanwan away and Wanwan got a new life. But there is no Grandma Rose to spend my birthday with. November 5th, 2015. Wanwan is so hungry. Wanwan has eaten very little and Dean's mom still scolds Wanwan. September 8th, 2017. There is a new dean in group home today and Wanwan doesn't like him. He always touches Wanwan and makes Wanwan sleep with him. Wanwan is so scared. Will Grandma Rose come back to protect Wanwan? March 6th, 2018. Many children in group home have new mommy and daddy. Does Wanwan have a mom and dad? Where are they? Wanwan misses Grandma Rose, and she misses them too. January 10th, 2024. Today I was taken to a big villa by an uncle. He said this is my home. There are my mom and dad and 3 brothers inside. From today Wanwan is no longer a child nobody wants, right? January 11th, 2024. There is another sister in the house. My mom, dad and brothers prefer my sister to Wanwan. My sister said I shouldn't have come back and upset the whole family. She said Wanwan was a spoilsport. February 3rd, 2024. My sister got a cut on her arm. My brothers sent so many gifts, and my mom said she would sleep with her at night for fear of pain. But Wanwan hurt more. Sister took off my clothes and hit me with a whip. She just hurt herself by accident. Why don't mom, dad and brothers ever look at Wanwan? February 15th, 2024. Today second brother came back from playing outside and brought gifts for both sister and Wanwan. Wanwan is so happy. This is the first time Wanwan has ever received a gift. Wanwan is going to give second brother a gift in return. February 16th, 2024. Sister threw away the strings that Wanwan had knitted. She said that Wanwan's stuff was so shabby and only poor people would wear such things. Wanwan searched for it for a long time and looked in many garbage cans before she found it. But it was dirty. Second brother surely won't like it either. Ethan's heart trembled. And tears smashed onto the diary. February 25th, 2024. Wan Wan is in pain. There's a lot of blood. Wan Wan must be getting sick. Mom, Dad and brothers will hate Wan Wan even more if they know. Sister is right. Wan Wan is a spoilsport. March 15th, 2024. It hurts. Wan Wan misses Grandma Rose. Grandma Rose. It's not good here at all. None of them love Wan Wan. May 10th, 2024. Wan Wan thinks about going to see Grandma Rose. Because Wan still has no family, only Grandma Rose. The diary ends abruptly here, never to be seen again. The handwriting is smudged. Is his sister crying? Ethan pinches the wrinkled paper and sits up all night. Mrs. Harper tossed and turned all night without sleeping. She wet her pillow with tears. The next day, she went to her daughter's room and saw Ethan sitting on the floor, staggering to his feet and handing Mrs. Harper the diary, clutching the same dirty bracelet he had searched for all night. Hidden under the pillow. It was the one his sister had braided for him. His sister had braided it. Alexander hurried back from the office. He had spent the night checking out his own sister's past, but discovered the secret that his father had hidden from the world. Sister was switched was actually intentional. Amber is the daughter of her father's old lover. Amber is the daughter of her father's old lover. He has doted on the child born of another woman for 16 years, but has paid no attention to his own sister. Mrs. Harper faints when her mother finds out. She woke up just as Mr. Harper returned from a business trip. She rushed over to him, her hair disheveled and hysterical. Song Yuan, are you not human? You give me back my daughter. You let me love that woman's daughter for 16 years. But you're so cold to my baby. You have no heart. You're keeping someone else and you want me to keep her daughter. Give me back my daughter. Give her back to me. Mrs. Harper fell to the ground, crying at the top of her lungs. Song Yuan waved Mrs. Harper's hand away, his face turning blue. How could it be? I've already had her child taken and buried. Mingzhu is the one who is our daughter. It was true that he had someone else on the outside, but he would not allow that there would be an illegitimate child that would appear to damage Song's reputation. I didn't expect that child to still be alive after 16 years. In order to hide it from his wife, he could only say that the child had been carried by mistake. Even Song Yuan would never have imagined that the child had been switched from the very beginning. And Mrs. Harper frantically punched Mr. Harper. The one who was buried is our real daughter. She was half a month older than my baby. How could you not recognize her? Why couldn't you recognize her? You're trying to hurt her. I'll kill you. Mrs. Harper was already in advanced maternal age and was in a coma for a week after delivery. She never saw her daughter for the first time. I was hospitalized. Nutritional fluids and painkillers every day. This life is better than the last. I'm in a hospital before I die. My third brother Jason came over every day. He said my mother went up the mountain to pray for me, knocking on 99 steps, praying for heaven not to take me away. He said Amber had been kicked out by the Song family. Mr. Harper didn't give her a penny. He said second brother found the hand rope I braided for her. Carry it every day. He also said big brother has prepared so many gifts for me and a new room. I can live in it when I'm better. I told the little girl one by one, trying to awaken her consciousness. But she didn't respond to me. Jason asked me when he left, Wan Wan, can you call me third brother again? I twisted my head and looked out the window. Jason smiled bitterly. Get well. Third brother will come back to see you tomorrow. The next day, Mrs. Harper limped in with Jason's support. She looked at the girl's thin body. The face similar to hers was full of pallor. Mrs. Harper couldn't control her tears. Until this moment, she had never taken a good look at the daughter she had given birth to in October. She was so much like her. It was her flesh and blood. Wan, can you forgive Mommy? Mommy asks the heavens, begging you to stay by Mommy's side. Mommy hasn't had a chance to love you properly. You can't leave Mommy. It's so noisy. I turned my head to Liam and said, I want to rest. Liam immediately shooed the man out. Eat something before you sleep. Okay. You haven't eaten properly again all this time, have you? I closed my eyes thinking about before. I want mac and cheese. Can you get it for me? Liam was pleasantly surprised. It was the first time a girl had ever said she wanted to eat something. Mac and cheese was something I couldn't get at group home before. Even if it was on my plate, it would be grabbed by the others. I escaped from the group home and picked up garbage for a while. And mac and cheese was often found in fast food containers. Then I turned 16 and was able to work in a restaurant. Mac and cheese was the best seller in that restaurant and I could always sneak it. Those days were the happiest. It was only a year before I started to lose my appetite and stop wanting to eat anything. The first meal I had at Song's was mac and cheese, and I couldn't wait to savor its taste. But it had no flavorings. No sweet chili sauce or ketchup. Nothing was familiar to me anymore. After a week in the hospital. Today I am extraordinarily refreshed. The little girl's consciousness has returned. I looked at Liam, who was lying beside my bed, and nudged him. Mac, can you take me somewhere? Liam took me on a 5-hour ride back to the dilapidated house where the little girl and Grandma Rose used to live. Today was Grandma Rose's Memorial Day. I lay on the bed where Grandma Rose used to sleep. My eyelids drooping helplessly. My internal organs began to ache violently. Liam looked at the girl's pale lips and his anxiety grew stronger. He knew that the girl was leaving. He held the girl's hand tightly. I struggled to open my eyes and raised my hand to touch Liam's cheek. He had lost so much weight these days. AMU. Thank you. Liam presses the girl's hand against his face, letting the tears slide down his face. Vivian, did I mention that I seem to like you? I smiled from the bottom of my heart. It's Ren. My name is Ren. Retention of retention. I looked him seriously in the eyes. Say it again. Okay. He nodded, choking back a sob and repeating, Ren. I seem to like you. I memorized his look deep in my mind. This is the first person who has ever told me that he likes Ren. Ren also likes him. I hold back the pain and whisper, I, too. Without waiting for a burst of surprise from Liam, the girl's hand slowly slipped away, until it was completely out of his palm. He threw himself on top of the girl and sobbed. 2024 June 10th. The girl was gone. His Ren was gone. Extra 1. Ren I detached from Wani's body and returned to the system. The system said it could help me fulfill a wish. If you want to return to the original world, the system can help cure you of your illness. I granted my heart's wish to Wani. I hope she can live a long life with Grandma Rose in her next life. My name is Ren and the meaning of coming here is to retain. Extra 2 Liam buried Vivian with Grandma Rose. He knew she wasn't his Ren. He buried Wani and couldn't find his little girl. Extra 3 Jason's sister was gone. Her mother's prayers didn't work. God took her anyway. In the end also still did not hear her call a brother After his sister left, he went to the temple to ask for a sign. He only prayed that God would let him be her brother in his next life and make it up to her. But the sign was a lower one. God also felt that he was not worthy. So far, the whole article is finished.